When I was 7 years old, my family had recently moved to Spain, and one day, whilst at the beach, I decided to prank them. I wanted to see how my parents would react if I got lost, and so I slowly snuck off. They were too busy getting handsy on our blanket to notice me leaving, but unfortunately, I went the wrong way and got lost for real while trying to sneak back to the parking lot. I ended up on some weird back roads that I didn't recognize. I decided to stop my prank and tried to navigate my way back to the beach, but I became more and more lost with seemingly each step, and before I knew it, I was in a sketchy alleyway that smelled of pee and had mice in it. What was equally as terrifying was that I was in beach attire, meaning I was wearing nothing but swim shorts. I remember wailing really loudly while walking aimlessly in whatever direction, screaming "Mommy" with tears rolling down my cheeks. I was convinced I was going to die. Even though I was a very shy kid, I started approaching every stranger I saw and tried asking them if they spoke English, but none of them did. Most adults literally ignored me, a screaming, crying, and scared child. I had been wandering the streets and random alleyways for about 5 hours, and I was exhausted, scared, hungry, and super cold. I felt myself on the verge of passing out when I came across an old man in a weird car park. I asked him if he spoke English, but instead of responding, he just bent down beside me and pulled me in for a hug. He then smiled at me, and in broken English told me to come with him. I had been warned by my mom of stranger danger, but I really had no other choice, and so I blindly trusted him and got in his car. We drove for over an hour to get to his house, which was in a remote location, and the entire car ride he kept glancing over at me. We eventually pulled into his worn down and sort of sketchy driveway, and I was terrified. But once again, I had no choice but to trust him. We walked into his house, and it turned out he had a wife and a son. The man started speaking in Spanish to his wife, and within seconds she was dressing me up in warm clothes and making hot tea for me. Their son happened to be around my age, and he was learning English in school. He took out his school dictionary, and I used it to explain what happened to me. The man and his wife then took me to the police station. The police also spoke English, and the woman there told me to sit in the lobby until an officer was free to attend to me. Well, the man and his wife exploded on the woman when she said the same to them in Spanish, and I'm not sure what was said as the Spanish they spoke sounded like an angry steam engine running, but it was enough to get the woman to make a phone call. My parents were actually driving around in a police car at this very moment, and they picked me up not even 10 minutes later. I broke into tears when I saw them. They both sobbed as they held me, and this is still the only time I've seen my dad cry. That was the moment where I realized just how much I meant to them, and to this day my mother sends chocolates to the man and his wife every year for Christmas as a thank you for what they did.